Hello, good afternoon, Queens. How is everyone doing out there on this beautiful Sunday afternoon? Thank you so much. You have joined us for a Queens Roundtable show. I am your host, Jacqueline Kabah Harrison. This happens every second and fourth Sunday of the month. I bring on a new or different entrepreneur, shall I say, with all different realms and areas of expertise. And basically, the purpose of the show is to provide education, support, encouragement, inspiration to all of the African American women out there that have a coaching and or consulting business. The purpose is to help you to show up boldly, consistently, and with intention in your business, allowing you to increase your productivity and definitely, last but not least, your profitability in your coaching and or consulting business. So bear with me, ladies. I'm going to be peeking down for a minute. I want to make sure everything is shared out. In the meantime, I'm going to let our guests take it away. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Shelley Meche'tte, and I am so happy to be here. I am a women's life speaker and change agent, and I am also a certified life purpose coach, which I just absolutely love being able to take that time and to share with people, especially women, since I am very much an advocate for women, but to really be able to share with them how to take responsibility for ourselves, for our actions, positive or negative, to put us in the best position to understand and walk in purpose. Because I believe that purpose is life. When we understand what we've been purposed for, what we've been created for, who it is that we're supposed to touch, then we ourselves are able to really live life to the fullest.
Yes.
So that's
Okay. All right. I am so excited. I'm so excited that you agreed to come onto the show. But before we dive into your topic for later, just kind of tell us a little bit about like where you grew up, if you were from a large family, if you currently have a family right now, young children, adult children. Just kind of give us a little bit more of a sense of who Shelley is.
Sure. Yes. I grew up, I'm a Cali girl, born and raised. And so I grew up right on the outskirts of Los Angeles in a city called Gardena, for those who are not familiar with the Los Angeles area. So it's right kind of on the outside of Los Angeles. My family is very small. My mom is one of five, and then she had me and my brother. So it's just the two of us. But I was so lucky to be able to have cousins. So I grew up with all boys pretty much. My cousin, my only girl cousin, I think she's about 8 years my senior. And so we never really had the opportunity to really grow up together. So I'm probably your typical halfway tomboy and halfway girly girl. So I was jumping off, jumping off of the roofs and, and rough housing and everything with all of the boys. So that was pretty much my childhood. I grew up with a single parent. My mother married when I was close to being a teenager. And so growing up with a single parent and having an absentee parent, unfortunately, it brought on a lot of self-esteem issues. It brought on a lot of, not really understanding who I was and feeling like, well, if I'm not good enough for you to stick around, then I really must not be that good at all. And so it really started a small turmoil within myself for several years of me trying to balance that out of what type of person I am and really come to accept myself in all areas, whether that be physically, accept my gifts, my talents, be okay with my skin color. It was just so many things that came along with having an absentee father and a world that said beauty only comes in this particular package. As I grew up, it was just a battle within myself because I had a mother who was constantly pouring positive and good things in me. I was a young lady who loved acting. And so that was my outlet, being able to act. I loved writing. So I kept a journal and things of that nature. But I also had this other gnawing side of me where I'm like, you're never going to get, the cute guy. So just settle for anything you can get. And so it took a while for me to be able to come out of that and to come to terms with who I am. When I married my wonderful, awesome husband, I've been married for 17 years now. But what happened is I still hadn't I still hadn't settled. And I didn't know that. I hadn't settled it within myself
Yeah.
because I had come out of an abusive relationship. And I thought that I had gotten all those things together. And then I found myself in the mirror one day, like boohoo crying, recounting the things that I had been told in my verbally abusive relationship, recounting the feelings that I had from being abandoned, recounting the fact that I felt like because I was of a certain color that I shouldn't expect great things in my life. And I found myself sitting in the mirror after having been married for a few years and having two kids going, who am I? I didn't realize at the time that I had actually put my everything into my titles. I worked for Warner Brothers at that time, and you could always depend on me. I was this great employee. People always trusted me. So I didn't realize that I had put my everything in titles. I was John's wife. I was Bree and Bethany's mom. I was Brenda's daughter. But who was Shelley? And that's the first time that I really had to crack my shell. And I may have been 30 years old by that time, maybe 31, 32, I'm not sure. But that was the first time that I literally had to crack my shell and find out what's underneath.
Wow. You know what? That speaks volumes. And I think that a lot of us as women go through that. And a lot of times we don't even realize it. Like you said, you're just kind of going about your life, achieving this, achieving that goal. And a lot of times, like I hear women say, I know I did this, I achieved that, but I still feel something is missing.
Something empty. Something's still empty. Yes. And that's what excites me about being a life purpose coach. And that's what excites me about doing it for women. Most of my clients are over 30, over 40. And the reason why is because what happened is they did exactly what I did. We did what we were supposed to do. We got out of school. We went to college. We got a career. We did this. We had a family. And so we began to live out our titles, and we never lived out our purpose. And so when I have 35-year-old clients.
You gotta stop right there. That is so powerful right there.
Yes.
We began to live out our title, right? And not our purpose.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And we do that accidentally because somebody said along the line, and there's nothing wrong with being married, having a family, have a career. All of these things are wonderful and great. But sometimes your purpose is in baking. And when you bake, you feel alive. You feel, you smell the ingredients, and it takes you into a new place. Your purpose is in that kitchen, being able to make the best brownies. And what happens is when you give those brownies to the kids in the neighborhood, it fulfills that desire in you that I've done my part to make things better in this one area. We look at purpose and we make it this grand thing. I need to solve, the next disease. That's not purpose. Purpose is what gives life. And what we have been created to do, to give that life and pour that life into someone else. Purpose is not even about me. Purpose is what makes me live and puts me in a position to give life to someone else. Yeah, that's what purpose is.
That is so, so powerful right there. Oh, you know what? I wanted to acknowledge, because sometimes I'm so bad with this, y'all. I'm sorry. I want to acknowledge anyone that joins us. We have a Yvette Bradford Harris.
Hi, Yvette.
Hello. Hi, thank you for joining us. And also, ladies, if at any time, if you have questions, please put them in the comments.
I'll definitely. Now, don't be shy now. Y'all ask your questions, okay? Right. Throw them out there.
Yeah, so definitely put them in the comments. And if something happens and we stick in or you can't hear us, please let us know that too. We'll try to make the appropriate adjustments. We don't want to go through the whole recording. And then it's like, oh, okay, well, 5 minutes in, we couldn't hear either of you, so let us know. But diving back in, Shelley, I am so excited. And I think that, like you said, 30 and over, because I know like my target audience is probably about 35 and over. But especially, because I know me coming up, I lived a lot like through what my parents' expectations were of me.
Yes.
Even though I didn't marry young, but that was kind of, something that I had to come into a realization of. And then
Mhm.
especially for those of us that do get married younger, like maybe in mid-20s,
Mhm.
because I know I have girlfriends and cousins that got married, mid-20s, had kids. So their children
Mhm.
are, adults now, and now
Yeah.
is just the time that they're sitting there and they're like, wow, who am I? What's
Yeah.
important to me, right?
Yes.
And like you said, what makes me feel passionate? Because like
Exactly.
for me, when you feel passionate about something, I like to describe that as I feel inspired, like in spirit, something
Exactly.
that you do that you just feel good from the inside out.
Yeah.
You
It's
know what
what
I
wakes
mean?
you up. It's
Yep,
what
right.
wakes
What lights you up?
you up.
And I ask so many women, and you tell me if you experience this too. Well, what are you passionate about? And they sit there and
Yes.
you get like a blank stare, and they're like, I don't
Yes.
really know.
But do you know I've had women with tears in their eyes because I will ask this one question, and I ask this question of all of my clients. I say to them, "Tell me about yourself." The same thing that you said to me. I said, "Tell me about yourself." And you were a little, you extended it for me because you said, "Hey, tell me about your growing up or this that." So
Mhm.
that allows me to tell you about myself. But when I say to women, "Hey, tell me a little about yourself," the first thing that comes out of their mouth is, I'm a wife, if
Yep,
they're a wife.
I'm a
I'm
mother.
I work here. I do this, and I let them finish everything that they said. And so afterwards, I say, wonderful. You've given me all of your titles, and your titles are amazing. But now tell me about you. And you would be surprised at the well up in
Yep.
the eyes because they cannot tell me about themselves because for the past 20 years you've been so and so's wife, and every day we wake up, we pack lunches, we change diapers, and there's nothing wrong with that. That is wonderful and magnificent. But what happens is we forget about us. So I have to go back and I have to say, what did you enjoy doing as a child?
Yep.
What made you light up? What could you do for several hours and you never thought about it? And some people would say, I just love being able to be outside and sit under the sun. So that's one of the things that's one of the things that makes you centered. That's one of the things that give you peace. So you can say, hi, I'm so and so, and I love nature. That's telling me about yourself. And
Yep.
that's what we miss. And many of us as women, we miss it because once again, we live out titles and not purpose because we wrap those things and we say, oh hey, I have to be a mom now so I don't get to go out into nature. And that may be true. Maybe you
Mhm.
don't get to go out, but let me tell you what you can do. What you can do because you enjoy nature is you could put some nature music on your head, honey, and you can go off in that room and you can shut those lights off and you can put a sign on that door that says do not disturb for 20 minutes. I am in nature
Yep. Or
because
you
that
know
is
what?
where
Plan
you
an
do you.
activity. Plan an
Or you
activity
can
with
plan an
the kids or
activity.
with your mate. Okay, let's
Exactly.
go ride this trail, or let's
Let's
go
go
camping
walk the
or
trail.
whatever. Right?
Yes, but women, what happens is when you have children and husband and this, they don't get out as much. So what I try to do is make it where we can use our home
Mm.
to be, to represent those things. Because sometimes you just can't do it. If you can plan those things, plan it with your children and
Mhm.
decide we're going to take one Saturday a month and we're going to go to the park in the evening time and we're all just going to sit and enjoy. That's something that you can plan to do,
Yeah.
which will take some of the things that you're passionate about
Mhm.
and keep those things about you.
You know what? I could tell you are very passionate about this, and I even kind of feel myself kind of like, because this is part of what I do as well. I know that we're both very similar, and
Mhm.
what we really want women to do is to basically, and I know this sounds very cliche-ish, but like live their best life, and
Yes.
you can't do that unless you really know who you are. And I think a lot of women, and I know a lot of women have said this to me as well, because I also do private practice,
Mm.
that they don't even know how to go about getting back
They just
to who they
don't
are.
know.
And that's what you help women do, right?
They just don't know. And so
Yep.
one of the things that I do is I literally create a personalized purpose plan. Here's the one thing that you cannot do as a coach, and that is blanket things.
Mhm.
And that's one thing that I for sure can't do in my industry as a life purpose coach because your purpose is not her purpose, is not her
Right.
purpose. Now we can have a foundation that's pretty much, the same, but I can't tell you, hey, go about and try to find your purpose this way because you're a different type of person. And so what I love about what I do is I do create a personalized purpose plan for that woman with the things that she enjoys, with things that she's passionate about. Some women have no idea what they're passionate about. So once again, we go back in time a little bit. And so we create a new plan just of you learning how to enjoy simple things. There's so many women who don't know how to enjoy because we've been conditioned to believe that when we take time for ourselves, we're being selfish. So can I just address the women right now? Be selfish. Be selfish once a month. Be selfish once a week. Be selfish once every 2 months. But plan some time to be selfish. The only way that you can give, I'm tired of, that being a wrong thing, giving to ourselves. That's why so many of us are in stress. That's why so many of us are exhausted, tired, mentally drained, because we're
anxious.
Depressed, all of that. Because someone has conditioned us to believe what you're supposed to do is give, 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 and you're never supposed to have anything. I have underwear now, girl, that's 16 years old that I need to go replace because I need to go be selfish and get myself some more.
But you know what though, and I'm telling you, Shelley, it's like no matter what coach or consultant comes on the show, we always cycle back to this. And I think an extra component on that is, being African American women, it's almost like we feel like we have to suffer in silence. You know what I mean? Like we don't want to ask for help. We don't want to admit that, I'm just not happy. Because I've heard when women say things like, I don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel happy. But at the same time, they feel a certain amount of guilt about that too. Because they're like, my children are healthy. I have a husband, my parents, my sisters, whichever, and they feel guilty about that. Yes. So I think it's like a whole extra component with us when it comes to not asking for help, and also like always trying to keep everything together. Like we standing there like we in a circus, traveling circus, right? Juggling all these different things, all these irons. Right, we can't drop none of them because we're not human, right? We can't drop none of them. We're just supposed to just go with it with a smile. Smiling for the crowd. And I don't know what that is as far as us.
And you're not supposed to complain either.
And you're not supposed to complain. If you complain, then you're ungrateful.
And you're weak.
And you're weak. Yep.
And you're weak. And here's the thing that people don't understand. We all have weakness. We're fragile in different areas of our lives. There's nothing wrong with being fragile. It's okay that today I'm fragile. Life hasn't treated me well today. It's rough. It's okay. We look at being fragile as, well, you can't handle things. You know what? I can't handle things today. So that's why I need to step away. That's why I need encouragement. That's why I need a hug. It's because we're always walking around trying to handle things and not asking for any help, not saying that I feel broken, not saying that I feel scattered mentally, not saying that I can't put the pieces together. That's why we're shattered. And this is what I'm trying to help women avoid. Purpose can give life. I want you to live, and I want you to live not as a shell, but as the woman that you've been created to be.
Yes, I like that. Purpose gives life.
Yes.
Wow, that's so powerful. Okay. So I was just trying to see if anybody else joined us. Okay. So you've answered some of it, but I typically have people talk a little bit about, how they grew up, which you shared that. And the why behind the business. And I think you share some of that as well. One of the things I like to ask is and again, you touched on a lot of this too, but what would you say was one of your greatest challenges, if you will, whether it be personally, professionally, that you'd like to share with us? Like share the challenge and how you addressed it or how you handled it so that it did not prevent you from growing, spiritually, mentally, professionally, personally.
Well, I think my greatest challenge, to be honest, was me learning how to love and accept myself. I was a person who I never really accepted compliments because I always felt like compliments came with a little something extra. And so if you're complimenting me, my first thing is, what do you want?
Mm.
You want. And I actually had a guy say to me, one day, I don't want anything, many years ago. He said, I don't want anything. I just wanted to give you a compliment. I think you're a very attractive woman. And he's like, but I don't want anything from you, just to tell you that. And he went on about his business. He didn't ask for my number. He didn't. It literally was just, oh, how pretty, you are. And I was like, whatever. Because in my mind, again, I have been torn down so much by society in an abusive relationship, abandonment issues, that I couldn't understand why anyone would find me attractive unless you wanted something.
Yeah.
So my biggest thing was internal, and I hadn't recognized that fully until after I was married. There were bits and pieces where I knew that I had low self-esteem, but the self-esteem wasn't so low where I was going to accept just any old thing, because I had a mother who was constantly pouring into me how awesome I was, how great I was, how intelligent I was, how lovely I was. So I had a big turmoil going on, but it just in myself. There was huge conflict of, no, you're this awesome, great person. You could do anything. No, you're this terrible, black, ugly person. Accept anything that you can get. Nobody wants you. So it was a lot of conflict, to where my mother's words, it just kept me enough on the surface where I didn't fall, too deep. But the insecurities kept me saying, okay, well, don't expect too much because you're just really not that great. It wasn't until, like I said, after I got married and I didn't have a job to fall back on, that I was like, okay, well, who is this woman? Who are you? I had decided to give up my job so that I could be home with the kids. But then I began going, okay, so you don't have anything. So then what are you worth if you're not bringing in any money, if you're not doing it? So what's your value here? And I stood in that mirror for hours because I said, well, I'm going to stand here until I can find something physically that I like about myself, because I have been torn down so much by the person who I was with that, there's no value, that I stood in the mirror. And I can't even tell you how long I stood in the mirror, but I began to cry because I found nothing that I thought was attractive about myself. And so I stood there. It seems like forever. And finally I settled. I settled on, I like my smile.
You have a very pretty smile.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's what I settled on. And it was because I found something, even though I was settling, I'm like, look, I can't find nothing else. Look, I guess I like my teeth, whatever. But it was that thing that opened me up to, okay, well, since you like your smile, smile. Since you think that that's the most attractive thing about yourself, do it. Smile. Smile more. So as I began to smile more, I began to feel better about me, the person. Because I go in the mirror, honey, and I just start cheesing just because I got some teeth. Because I'm like, they all mine, so I might as well show somebody or show myself.
I know, right? They all mine. Look.
Show myself. But it was the one thing that made me feel good about myself, that I thought, hey, you got a cute pair of teeth. Cool. And through that, I began to go, you know what, girl, I kind of like them eyelashes. Go on and wink at yourself. And so then my eyes, they didn't become brown eyes. Girl, I gave myself a new name. I got almond colored eyes. Okay. So I start talking to myself. Look at them almond eyes that you got. Start blink at yourself. Blink at yourself with them almond eyes.
I love it. I love it. You know what? And then too,
it was a process though. Yeah. I didn't just wake up. I had to start with a small, itsy bitty, tiny thing and make myself believe that one thing. Then open me up to some other things.
Yeah. You know what? I think that like you said, in terms of the titles, because African American women, we are the most educated women out there. Have you noticed
Oh,
that?
yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
girl,
and
we
we
got
have great
degrees,
looks.
we got doctorates, we got
Yeah.
houses, we got infinity cars. I don't know, I'm not real up on cars, y'all, but whatever the top type of car is, Benz is, whatever, right? And
Mm-hmm.
and the fanciest clothes, these red bottom shoes, right? We got all of this stuff, but then on the inside, we feel like crap, or we
Yeah.
all, or we feel like something is missing, or
Yeah.
we anxious, or we depressed, or you know what I mean? And this is so important, and I really like to see, I mean, even though I'm pretty sure you work with all types of women, right?
I do. I do.
Okay.
I
Good.
do. I work with women across the board.
Okay.
Do I work with a lot of African American women? Yes, I do. And I
Mm-hmm.
think it's because, of course, they look at me and they can relate.
Relate, yeah.
But yes, I have women from all walks of life, because we all connect on a certain level.
Yeah.
And part of that level is I've lost a little bit of me.
Yeah.
Shelley, show me how to get that back.
Yeah.
So there are women that are coming, and it's almost like I need you to show me, or
Sure.
else I don't know what's next.
Mm-hmm.
So I love those women. I love them. I love being able to give a virtual hug, because
Mm-hmm.
everyone is not here where I am.
Mm-hmm.
But if I can, that's why I love hosting events, because I love to be able to hug those women. I
Yeah.
love the women who are there, and they're like, I don't know, Shelley, if I'm fragile, or if I'm just confused, or if I'm depressed, or I don't know. Maybe I don't have anything to be unhappy about. That's the other thing. I have women who are like, I shouldn't even be confused. I have a great life. I have this, and they feel guilty
Yeah.
about not
It's that
being
guilt.
satisfied.
Yep.
No, let's get rid of that.
And you know what
Let's get
I'm
rid of
noticing? This is kind of a little bit of a sidebar. Is that I'm noticing, like, African American women throughout the United States, like even in like London, because I'm just saying, I noticed like over the years, different people that have followed me and different people that have joined my lives. Like I said, like women, like African American women, like in London, and in the Caribbean.
Mhm.
I find that a lot of this is very similar. The like what we talked about earlier in terms of putting ourselves, kind of tucking our feelings away. And
Mhm.
those two, and I'm sorry, y'all, I'll be kind of blurting out, but I'm trying to not interrupt, because this is passionate to me, very passionate subject to me as well. And I think that idea of being, superwoman, and not willing to ask for any help, and
Mhm.
the guilt feelings, I think all of this is very common. It's very,
Mhm.
very common. And a lot of times it's about this age, 35 plus, that you really kind of come into that, like, well, wait a minute, something else is
Yeah,
missing. Oh, and then this is what was going to say. And I think we watched our mothers, our aunts, and our grandmothers
yeah,
do the same thing.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Do the same
Exactly.
thing.
We did, because my model was my mother. And when I
Mm-hmm.
looked at my mother was a strong woman, and my mother did it all, and
Yeah.
she did it all by herself. But I don't know the breaking point that you may have had. I don't know if you went into that bedroom and shut the door and boohoo cried or broke down. I don't know. But the image that I saw was this woman who went to work every single day, who caught the bus to work, who cared for her child. We walked to the county office once a month together, so that we could, get food stamps, and she kept food on the table. She turned meat, I think it was Meatless Monday, into something fun. For me, it was like, oh, it's just Meatless Monday. But I didn't understand that she took one day of meat out of the menu so that she could save money on other things, like providing private school for me. She ironed clothes for mannequins at Learners. Learners, you got to be a certain age to remember
Yeah, I
Learners.
know
So
learners.
I'm dating myself. I'm dating myself. But she used to iron the clothes of the mannequin, honey, and my mother could put a mean press on stuff. Okay. So when I see mannequins that have their clothes on, I'm like, y'all don't take that for granted. My mother was in the back ironing those clothes to make sure they look good. But these are the things that make me have even more respect for my mother, that she did these things to keep me in private school, to keep me out of certain situations. She did as much as she could. And as far as I could see, she never skipped a beat. But I don't know what type of internal, how she internalized those things. I don't know how those things broke her down. So me having my children have seen me cry. My mom, I don't really recall seeing my mother cry. My mother is so composed that she gets one tear in the corner right here that comes down. That my mother's a bad chick. Okay. I'm like, how you do that? How you do that? How you just get the one?
Just the one, right?
And then she's so composed. She takes her Kleenex and she just goes,
Right?
And then she's perfect all over again. And so for me, I'm like, I'll never measure up to that. But here's what I didn't understand. I don't have to measure up to that. I don't have to measure up to this, this ideology about women having to be perfect in every area. And I'm sure that she is how she is because she saw this strong woman, because her mother was the same way, out there working. She was in an abusive relationship, but she didn't tell anyone, but she was working hard, putting food on the table, walking, because she didn't know how to drive. So it trickled down. For me, I can be the same woman of strength and understand when my strength needs to sit down.
Yes.
I get encouragement from my own children. If I'm having a rough day, it's okay for us to allow our kids to see us have a rough day. I get my greatest joy from them wrapping their hands around me saying, "It's okay, Mom." Now, it might not be okay, but for that moment, I can just let myself be. I can just boo-hoo and cry. My husband can come in and give me a cup of coffee when I'm feeling down. And just the little gestures, if I never allow myself to experience the hurt, the break, the disappointment, if I don't acknowledge it, I can't allow myself to flow through it.
And you know what? And you're teaching your children that it's
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That, so it's okay to reach out for help. It's okay not to be perfect. That's okay.
And here's the thing. We're so worried about dropping the ball. This is what I like to teach my children. It's okay to put the ball down. You don't have to drop the ball because you don't need to hold all of these things. It's okay for you to literally take the ball and go sit it down. Bye.
And go sit down for a minute.
And go sit down. Mm-hmm. We don't have to drop the ball. We can make a choice to put the ball down, and then you can pick it up when you feel like it.
That's right. I like that. You ain't got to drop the ball. Just sit the ball down for a minute. It's okay.
Sit it down.
You know what? I mean, I kind of figured this was going to happen because of the topics and because of your topic. So the other questions that I typically like to ask is, how do you practice good self-care?
Mm-hmm.
And we touched on it a little bit. And tell us something interesting about yourself. And what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself? So I'll just put them all out there. You answer what you want to answer. And then after that, we can segue into your topic. And then you can tell everybody how they can connect with you.
No problem. Here's an answer that you probably don't hear often. My greatest self-care are my own tears.
Are your own what?
My own tears, my crying.
Okay.
That's one of the greatest self-care for me because, again, I grew up with a mother who was so strong, who kept everything. And my mother's motto, which is still pretty much my motto too. Her motto was, you can, whatever situation is going on in life, you got 2 days to break down. Then you need to build it back up again. And you need to make a plan. Now, that is still my motto. That I'm like, I cannot change things unless I create the plan. So I give myself 2 days to just have a disaster. And yeah, I just have
That's so funny. You know that. I like the way you put stuff. 2 days for my disaster. That's it.
That's it. If it didn't work and I'm mad and I'm sad and I want to have a temper tantrum and I want to feel low and I want to say, woe is me, I'm going to do it. Leave me alone. Close the door. I'm in the dark. I want to be depressed. Just leave me alone. Okay. And I give myself that time. What people don't understand is when you're honest enough with yourself to say, I am over life right now. That's what gives you the opportunity to allow life to replenish you.
Okay.
When I say to myself, I'm done, I've had it, and I can go in my bathtub and just start crying for the next 2 hours. First of all, the bath feel good. The water is warm, and just let the tears flush into the water. It'll all go down the drain. But when I get in there and I give myself time to pray, to cry out to God, to let him know my disappointments, to let him know, I'm not satisfied here. I'm not said, and not only that, but God, I feel like you let me down. I feel like you didn't hold up your bargain. You didn't hold up your end of the bargain. When I allow myself to verbally say these things and allow myself to mourn the situation, it's a replenishing for me. I go to sleep because I can't cry no more. So what's the next step? Let's take a nap.
Yep.
And then when I get up, my mind is a little more clear.
Okay.
And I can actually see things a little clearer now. So for me, I like to do what's called life breaks. I just break away. I gotta go. And if gotta go means I need to cry, then I cry. If gotta go means I need to go by myself and have a cup of tea and turn my phone off for an hour, I go have a cup of tea. My family know when I close my bedroom door, nobody comes in.
Okay.
Last night, my youngest came and tapped on the door because I had the door open and then I shut it. And she tapped on the door and she comes in and she peeks in and she says, I just wanted to know, is this the close off time? Is this the shut in time? And I said, yes. And she went on and closed that. She said, okay, I was just checking. And she closed that door because I've set it up where my family knows when the door is closed, I need me. And so I think for self-care, we need to be honest enough to know when we're triggering, when we're teetering on that, because if we don't do it, then I'm lashing out at you.
Yep.
I'm not taking care of myself. My business suffers. I miss certain things. I make mistakes because my mind is not where it should be. So I believe that self-care looks different for different people. I don't believe self-care is quote, quote, so much the spa. If that's your thing, do it. But for me, self-care is closing my door and allowing myself to come down from the day. Self-care for me is talking with God and allowing his Holy Spirit to minister to me. These are things that are self-care for Shelley. And sometimes self-care is hitting that mall and getting myself a new lipstick like yours that I'm going to buy. That one. That's my next self-care right there.
Like you said, it's different for everybody.
Yes. And I don't think we can blanket it, but I think we need to be careful when we substitute self-care activities for what truly is replenishing us. Shopping is a self-care activity, but did that really replenish your heart? Did that really put you back in a mind frame of refreshing? So we just need to be careful of what we use to substitute. What really replenishes you? And if that means you need to go sit at the park for 30 minutes, just make sure it's a replenishing time so that you can come back and walk in life again.
Right. And you know what? Okay, I'm saying real quick. And ladies, I think that is so important. And I know that came up. I think the last person I interviewed was that I hear a lot of people talk about, I went and got my nails done, or I got my hair trimmed up, but when we talk about self-care, you got to really look at, does that replenish you?
Exactly.
Yeah. So I like the way you phrase that. Okay. So go ahead. I'm done.
No, you jump in anytime. That's the difference between a self-care activity, and there's nothing wrong with it, and actual self-care. Now, when we go to the spa, we're getting a massage, we're being relaxed. So this may be an activity that replenishes. Going shopping, I may not have been able to find a parking spot. The mall might be crowded. The people may be stressing me. So you did an activity, but was it really self-care?
Right.
So you see that difference? So that's what I like for women to make sure that they're understanding. When you say, oh, I took a self-care day, did you? Or did you just do activities?
Right.
Did you come back ready to deal with that toddler? Or did you come back like, oh gosh, again?
Like, look, I heard women be like, they pull up in their driveway and they just be sitting out there in the car. Like, I'm gonna go.
sometimes you have to do, sometimes that is the self-care. I'm going
Right.
to sit in the car
You have that
for
10 minutes in the
15
car.
minutes
Nobody
before
asks
I
you
go to
nothing.
the house. Yes. And I'm sorry, I got so off on that. You asked me something else.
I had said, tell us something interesting about you and what advice would you give to a younger version of yourself?
Something interesting about me. You know what? Sometimes I think everything is interesting about me, but I spend so much time speaking and empowering women that a lot of people don't know I'm actually an actress on the side. So I love acting. I'm actually scheduled to be in a play in October. I love theater. Child, get me in front of the people, and they may have to use a cane to snatch me off. Like, that's not your role. Get
Right. Like
off the stage.
saying,
Get off. Yeah, get off the stage. But I love theater. I love watching plays. I love being in plays, and that's actually the career that I was going after, being an actress. It didn't quite get there, but that's okay. I still do stage. I still brush my little edges back, and do a little something, something. So
so
that may be
I know
interesting.
that means you're a dynamic speaker.
I do my best. Here's the thing. A lot of people say because I act, I must be great at speaking. Acting, you give me my line, so all I have to do is memorize it. I love women. I love speaking. I love being in front of women. So I tell people all the time, I kind of get the best of both worlds, because even as a speaker, I get to be on stage.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I get to be in front of people, and I get to interact with people, and I get to feel, the energy from the audience. And I get that when I'm speaking, and I get that when I'm acting. So it's a win-win situation for me. And
Okay.
I love it. Probably what I would tell my younger self is to allow myself to take the good out of the bad.
Okay.
And what I mean by that is, as I've stated, I grew up with the natural absentee syndrome. I got involved in a verbally abusive relationship. I had self-esteem issues, all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
But I would encourage my younger self to not so much try not to have the experiences, but to glean from the experiences. So even though I walked in feeling low self-esteem, take what you can get out of that. Yes, you feel like you're not pretty, but what is it about you that you can show the world? Yes, you came from an absentee parent, but how can you pour life into someone else who's experiencing the same thing?
Okay.
So I would just encourage myself not to wallow in the hurt and in the pain, which I think I spent some time doing. Well, why did you do this to me? Well, why didn't you love me? Well, why don't you care? Let me show you that I'm a good woman. Let me show you that. Child, please, if you can't see all of this
Right.
luscious that I'm good,
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you to go on and go. So
Right.
glean from it what you can take from it, and allow yourself, unfortunately, to have the experience. No one wants the experience of pain. No one wants the experience of hurt. But most of the time, excuse me, our greatest triumph came from our brokenness. And so, again, I would just encourage my younger self to go ahead and allow yourself to go through the process, and then take some of the jewels
Okay.
from those things to create a better tomorrow.
Okay. Nice.
Yes.
I like that. So go ahead and segue into your topic,
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
the 5 principles of happiness. Put yourself
Yes.
in the proper mindset for growth, both personally and professionally.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Being that I am a life purpose coach, one of the things that I like for my clients to understand is, even if you know your purpose and you know exactly what you were called to be, if you never put yourself in the right mind frame for growth, for prosperity, and that's in any aspect of your life, then you're still not going to win. Just because you know purpose doesn't mean you'll walk in purpose. That's a choice that's yours. I can know that I'm a good writer and never write at all. That was my choice. It doesn't take away the fact that I'm a good writer. It just means I chose not to use it. And so I like for them to understand that just because you know purpose, if you don't take the opportunity to understand the 5 principles of happiness and to center yourself for that and to put yourself in the right space, you're still never going to achieve all of the things that you could have achieved. And if you do achieve them, it'll be with so much more stress than you really needed to take on. And so, guys, I don't want to take up a lot of your time. And so I have a few little notes here if my computer will act right. I have a couple of little notes for you guys, if that's okay, that I wanted to share with you of how to take on these 5 little principles, which will be, they're simple principles, but they're things that we sometimes forget. And so I wanted to jump into that. And so you guys give me one little second here. Okay. So there's some similarities between me and I'm sure everyone that's here, because you said most of the people here are coaches or speakers and things like that. Is that right? So we have similarities, and those similarities are, we have to be hired. We have to be hired in order to be able to do what it is that we do, which is coach, which is speak, which is, pour back or whatever it is. So we have to be hired. We have an opportunity to create our own schedule. As coaches, speakers, we get an opportunity to choose who it is that we would like to work with. We have to learn how to multitask. We have to learn how to put things in order. And one of the greatest things that we have to learn how to do is we have to learn how to excel at time management. And that time management includes time management for us, not just for those who we're speaking with, not just for our clients, but being able to understand our own time management, being able to understand our own triggers in life, being able to understand that negativity, hardships, frustrations, all of these things are a part of the world. So we need to be able to understand how to operate emotionally in a world that throws all of these things at us. We've all heard the saying, make lemonade out of lemons. Well, what if I don't like lemonade? Then what? You know what I'm saying? Everybody don't want no lemonade. Maybe I like strawberry Kool-Aid. So how do I take the things that life throw at me that I don't like and turn these into things that can be productive? How do I pull the gems out of disaster? And one of the ways that we can pull gems out of disasters is by learning how to operate in the 5 principles of happiness. And the first principle would be to speak life into yourself. You cannot depend on other people to speak the life into you. That was the issue. That's the issue in any verbally abusive relationship. Why do I know? Because that's my background. So I'm not telling you something I heard or statistics that I've read. I know that when you allow someone else to speak more into your life than you speak into your life, you put yourself in a position to take on who they think you should be. And this is why it's so critical of us as people, as parents, as friends, that we know the proper things to speak into their lives. I, as a parent, have to be careful of the things that I speak into the life of my daughters, because the world is already going to tell them, as Black women, you can only be this. As Black men, oh, you could play some basketball. Oh, yeah, you could do that. Right. But you're not going to tell them that they could be engineers. You're not going to tell them that they could be, they could go into medicine. You're not going to tell them that you can code. So you have to be able to speak things into yourself, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to hold on to happiness. There's someone out there that's going to tell you, you can't be a coach. Who are you coaching? Why? I told myself for a long time, Jacqueline, well, why are you writing a book? This is what I told myself. Don't nobody want to hear what you have to say. So what you writing a book for? So what I spoke to myself is what I believed about myself, that anything I wrote, don't nobody want to hear it. But guess what? I had family that said, well, why you not writing your book? Well, when you going to write your book? Well, how much have you written on your book? And because they kept saying that, I said, well, nobody want to hear what I say, but I'm just going to write it anyway. And then all of a sudden I started saying to myself, well, I've gone through some things. So there's some things that I may be able to encourage some other people about. And so I began to change the narrative of what I started saying to myself. And when I started speaking those things to myself, when I began telling myself, girl, your teeth is pretty. Girl, look at your gums. Oh, they look pretty. Then I began to believe those things. You have to learn how to speak life because that's where the joy flows. Joy flows from the inside out, not the outside in. So I need to be able to pour from the inside because that's where the happiness is drawn from. Speak life into yourself and pull up the weeds from people who don't know how to do it. Okay. There's some weeds in your garden. And you need to be able to detect those weeds. So what that means is you need to be looking closely within yourself, looking closely at who's around you so that when they're not producing in your life, you can pluck those weeds and begin to pour life all over again. Okay. Principle number 2, you need to make a choice, make a plan, then make a move.
Make a choice, make a plan, and make a move. Okay.
Then make a move. How many times are we stuck on, am I going to do it? Am I not going to do it? Should I do it? Maybe I do. Well, maybe I'll get 5 more opinions about if I'm going to do it. Well, maybe I'll get 13 more yeses first. Well, let me see, Jesus, what's the sign, Lord? Well, if the Lord come down and does a cartwheel with the sun and the sun flip back over to the, then I know that I'm supposed to. 2 years later, we're stuck on making a choice and we're unhappy because we haven't reached the result that we would like to reach. But the reason you haven't reached a result is because you refuse to make a choice. If your choice is, I don't want to take the risk, make the choice. I don't want to take the risk. I don't want to do it. Maybe it's the right choice. Maybe it's not. But as long as you keep yourself in the balance, you're not going to be able to step into anything. That's not good management of your time.
Right.
That's not good management of your emotions. You're up and down. Now you're cussing everybody out because you wanted to start a cookie business. Start the cookie business.
Right.
Go get a cookie.
Right.
Please. I will donate the raisins. Just make a choice.
You're right. Make a choice. Okay. I want to so let's try to, I think we got maybe like another 5, like maybe 8 minutes.
Sure. Let's run through these other 3 principles. So it's make a choice. Then you got to make a plan and make a move. You can make a plan, but if you don't move, you still looking there. You want the cookies, but you ain't bought the cookies and you didn't plan out how we going to sell the cookies. You still haven't done nothing and you're still unhappy. Right. Principle number 3, invest in yourself. That goes back to whether it's your business, you're going to have to invest in yourself. Time, you're going to have to invest in yourself. You're going to have to be honest with yourself and say, I'm a procrastinator. I'm a hater. I'm a bitter person. And you're going to have to invest in trying to make those things better. So when you invest in you and what it is that's going to make you a better person, what you're doing is you're investing in your happiness as well. And so the next point is, please leave toxicity alone. All toxicity. But here's the catch on that. You need to be honest enough to say if you're the toxicity that you need to correct. Are you the one who's toxic? So then you need to find that, because when you begin to expel that toxicity from you, whatever it is, if it's anger, if it's I don't have peace, if it's my mind is not right, when you get that and you expel it, you put yourself in a happier place. And then the last principle is enjoy the process, which is what I said about myself, what I would tell my younger self. Yes, it doesn't feel good, but allow yourself to flow through the process and to glean the jewels out of it. When you allow yourself to go through any process, it's not fun. So you're not going to get lies from me. Oh, yay, the process is happy. No, it's not. It's not happy. But you can glean happy moments from it. And then you'll look back and go, oh my gosh, I'm so much stronger now. Oh, now I know about contracts because I got burned 3 times. Well, now not only do I know about contracts, but I can teach about contracts and I can make some money as contracts. And now I can pay my bills and I'm much happier. Who's happier when they can pay their bills? So your 5 principles of happiness that will help you grow, it's going to help you grow in life, it's going to help you grow in business, is to speak life. Speak life over it. Speak life over you. Make a choice, then make a plan, and then make a move. Because one without the other is not going to do it. Invest in you. Personally, professionally, spiritually. Leave toxicity alone and then be honest if you're the toxicity. And then enjoy the process, because enjoying the process will ultimately lead to you enjoying life. These are the 5 principles that will keep not only you happy, put you in a nice space mentally and emotionally, but will also grow you in every aspect of your life. Did I get that in those 5 minutes? Did I hit that?
Yes, you did. You hit it, boy. That's good. That's wonderful. Now, let me ask you this. Do you have like a freebie that you usually give out? Like maybe, with your different principles you do?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, actually, I'm working on my website, and what you'll be able to do is I have a website up, but I'm renewing that website. And what you'll be able to do is if you get onto my list, you will actually be able to download my free 5 habits of happiness.
Okay.
And so you'll be able to download that ebook. So I'm still working on that, but like I said, you will be able to do that. And I will be more than happy once that's done. We should be finished in the next week and a half. Everything should be done. And I would be more than happy, to send that to you, and you can send it out to everybody. I also have, for those who may be interested, I also have where they can schedule a 30-minute consultation with me. What I will do today, and only today, is your guest, if they would like to schedule a consultation for today only, they can go and schedule a consultation, which is a $19 investment. And as long as they keep their appointment, their $19 will be refunded back to them if they schedule their consultation today. Now, y'all don't come and be like, oh, I know it's Monday. It's not for the Monday. It's for the Sunday. And I'm on PST time. So you even got a little extra time, because my midnight is going to come after your midnight.
Right. Okay. That's right. That's right. You are in California. Okay.
Yes.
So,
I'm 3 years behind.
So where should they go to link up with you?
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send my Calendly information to you, and then you can send it to your people. And that is for today, that if they schedule their consultation, they will get a refund on that $19 investment.
Okay. Can you
and
also,
I'll send it to you.
Is it too much to ask? Can you put it in the comments too?
Sure, I can, but you know what? Because I don't know it offhand.
Okay.
Yeah, girl, I'll be sending you to somebody named Shelley Meche'tte, and y'all will be like, but I thought, yeah.
Okay, well, when you get a minute.
I have all messed up.
Okay. Wow, this has been very, 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 very powerful, very enlightening. And once we finish up, I'm going to see if I can tag a couple of people. Yeah, I'm going to see if I can tag some people. I tried to earlier, but it wouldn't let me do it. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. There's a lot of changes with Facebook.
I know.
So
yeah.
But yeah, this has been very wonderful. I'm so glad you came and we got a chance to to do this live. And for those, like I said, individuals that will catch the replay, let us know that you're catching the replay. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments. We'll definitely get back with you. The coach, share it out. Okay. You never know who may be on the verge of giving up or may really need to hear. You never know these messages. So I'm going to go ahead and close out. Again, you have joined us for a Queen's Roundtable show.
And let me let you guys know where you can contact me. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Instagram, and I'm under my name. I like to keep it simple, Shelley Meche'tte, and that's MECHETTE. My website is still up. You can still contact me through the website that's up. It is ShelleyMeche'tte.com. Just know that a new one is coming where you guys will be able to download things and get other information and join my encouragement, newsletter and things like that. But you can still reach me through my current website, which has all of my contact information, and you can reach me on social media at any time, Facebook or Instagram.
Okay. So you know what? So like you said, you can put it in the comments later and send it to me, and I'll make sure it gets out. So if anybody wants to reach out to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So A Queen's Roundtable Show. We do this every second and fourth Sunday of the month at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I'm in Michigan, y'all. So Eastern Standard Time. And again, If you are interested in being a guest, if you are an entrepreneur, like I said, it doesn't matter if you do coaching, if you're a tax consultant, whatever the case is, if you would like to be on the show and be able to provide guidance, tips, inspiration to help other coaches and consultants succeed in their business, that is the purpose of A Queen's Roundtable Show. And again, I am your host, Jacqueline Kabah-Harrison. So thank you so much, ladies, for joining us. And until next time.
Bye-bye.